okay, so initially constructed in 1957, it was formally inaugurated 59. Several rounds of renovation has or have taken place, including major upgrades in 2008 for the WAFCON. 2020, there was another rehabilitation. First phase completed and handed over in November 2022. So that phase included upgrades to the pitch, tartan tracks, floodlights, and irrigation system. So those are some of the things that have happened in line with the Baba Yara Stadium. But let's get this report from Michael Asabredu. He was there with the minister yesterday and he filed this report.
So the Sports and Recreation Minister, Honorable Kofi Adams, has paid a working visit to the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. He came in the company of the Ashanti Regional Minister, that is Dr. Frank Amoakohene, and also some officers of the National Sports Authority. Now they came to abreast themselves with the state of the facility. A lot has gone amiss here, and it's promised that they will put in place measures to ensure that renovation work start and they will complete the facility for use by the two teams who particularly will represent Ghana in the CAF Interclub competitions. There is BBN Gold Stars champions of the Ghana Premier League who will play in the CAF Champions League. And then on the other hand, Asante Kodoko, the FA Cup winners, will play in the CAF Confederation Cup.
The facility is huge. The potential of this facility is great in terms of our sporting development. The tartan tracks, space for tartan tracks, and so athletics can easily be done. So it won't only be for football, but you can have athletics, you can do even other events here. Once we do what we must do, we can use this for so many things.
The minister from here proceeded to inspect the sports complex. He's also promised that they will expedite action to ensure that they put the Inehin sports complex in shape for use by those within the area. And that sums up the sports minister's working visit to the Ashanti region.
That was Michael Asabredu with that report. Ray, so it looks like now the minister has moved on to sporting facilities, sporting infrastructure. He says the Baba Yara Stadium will have to be worked on, and he's taking this trip to see what must be done so he can go back and report to the president, and then we wait to see what will happen. If you go back to the story I read, the challenges that are there, right? They include malfunctioning floodlights, damaged washrooms, outdated PA systems, worn-out reserve benches, high electricity costs, and non-functional irrigation systems. You see, these are some of the things that CAF said. And when CAF said it, we said, oh, we had things. But see.
Yeah, you see, I am excited about one thing.
Okay.
And I'm excited that the minister
Sporty FM
is trying to find a way to make sure there's a plan for our sports infrastructure. Now, if you look at the pictures that came from the Baba Yara Sports Stadium yesterday, and you look at the state of the washrooms, or even the hardware in the washrooms, you'll be amazed as to how we have allowed the facility to reach this level of deterioration. Okay. It clearly means that there's no maintenance plan, there's no maintenance schedule. And it is again possible that those who are supposed to be responsible for making sure some of these things are protected or well taken care of have clearly abandoned their jobs.
Okay.
In terms of sanitary conditions of the place and all, it is clear that a lot of things have been left not well taken care of. So it brings us to the point where somebody must be ready to take responsibility. Somebody must be ready to do an evaluation of what is there, figure out how to restore it, and then moving on, we put in place proper mechanisms to maintain and manage those facilities. So I'm happy that the sports minister has embarked on the Inspect to Restore project, or the Inspect to Restore initiative. so that some of our facilities that have been left behind, I think, crucially, for the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. The last time we played a big game there, we had to go and beg CAF
Sporty FM
to allow us to use the facility. And since then, all the 18 requirements that CAF listed before that ban, before we went to beg for them to restore our license, we had clearly gone to sleep on them. So, before our last qualifiers, I think a few years ago, just last year, no, that's 2024, we were in a rush to get CAF to come and inspect the Accra Sports Stadium or the Legon Stadium or the Cape Coast Sports Stadium.
I remember that.
That resulted in us finally getting approval to use the Accra Sports Stadium.
Yes.
Because Baba Yara Sports Stadium clearly was not fit for purpose.
It was for the Sudan and Niger games.
Yes. And that's how desperate we got. Again, since then, we've gone back to sleep on Baba Yara. Even our local club licensing here in Ghana, at a point, stopped Kumasi and Asante Kotoko from playing at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium because of concerns with regards to not meeting the standards.
Yeah.
This
safe
is
zone.
Sporty FM,
Again?
the voice of sport.
We had to reach a compromise to allow the facility to be used. But what is important here is that the current sports minister is ready to address some of these problems. Is ready to get government to fix some of these problems and then make sure there's a clear plan to manage those facilities. So I'm excited. And it comes on the back of Bibiani Gold Stars and Kotoko qualifying to play in Africa and having CAF reject their facility. What this means is that the burden of fixing the facility does not become Kotoko's or Bibiani Gold Stars. It now becomes the burden of government. And as part of government's contribution to making sure both teams have stress-free campaign in Africa, as a matter of urgency, they would move to address the problems of the facility just to make sure it's fit for purpose. Nathan, you remember, even before we played against Chad here in Accra, I told you components of the scoreboard at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium were taken out to fix the Accra Sports Stadium scoreboard.
Yes.
Before that game.
Yes.
Again, the sitting area for the technical team and the players, the reserve players, it had to be moved. They had to disassemble it, move it to the Accra Sports Stadium to be fixed there for those two games. Meaning, even between the two facilities, there are challenges. So if the minister is doing his recce to propose a permanent fix, I am excited about it. And I am hoping that this new renovation or this upgrade or facelift that will be given the facility, there will be a clear plan to maintain it. But Nathan, yesterday, my key takeaway from the minister's tour was his concerns about the FDA and their regulations when it comes to alcoholic beverage companies associating with sports.
Foods and Drugs Authority on this. Because once we are doing that, the very young ones, we don't want to watch these sponsors for alcoholic beverages being advertised during sporting activities or shows. Are watching DSTV that shows all kinds of alcoholic beverages that are sponsoring the UEFA.
All right, apologies for that. But anyway, Ray, we are talking about that. What I wanted to set up that voice and then I play it. But okay, you know what? I think it makes sense. Let me just play the voice for you. Apologies to our listeners for that technical hitch. But let me play the minister's voice to give context to what Raymond is saying, and then we can proceed with the rest of the show. This is the Sporty Breakfast.
So the Sports and Recreation Minister, Honorable Kofi.
Okay, clearly not. That is not that one. Okay, so here's the Sports Minister talking about the alcoholic brands and all, and the fact that these days they are not allowed to play in the sporting arena. And he's talking about his concern and what he wants to do to reverse that, so there's some sponsorship that will come into the sports area.
Foods and Drugs Authority on this. Because once we are doing that, the very young ones, we don't want to watch these sponsors for alcoholic beverages being advertised during sporting activities or shows. I'm watching DSTV that shows all kinds of alcoholic beverages that are sponsoring the UEFA leagues and whatnot. So we are looking at it to see how we can really resolve that issue. Because you remember, Guinness used to be a big sponsor for Black Stars in the past. And it was helping. Today, we don't have any big sponsor that sponsor our sports. Yes, Malta Guinness did the Women's Premier League, but how much is it? Guinness, their main product, are not able to sponsor sports anymore. So it's a matter that we are seriously looking into. I don't think denying them investment in sports has helped us.
All right, so that was the sports minister and his thoughts on reversing the directive of the FDA in terms of the advertisement. Ray, maybe you want to give us some more context to it so people understand what we are saying.
Yes, so somewhere in 2018, 2019, thereabout, the FDA, in an attempt to manage abuse of alcoholic products and exposure to the youth, and to try and manage consumption within that demographic, came up with some regulations to streamline how alcoholic beverages are put out there in the public domain in terms of promotion or advertising. Okay. So, part of the regulations captured in Article 32112 of the FDA regulations
Sporty FM
had this particular saying, and let me, with your indulgence, let me read. It says, where an alcoholic beverage company sponsors a program, a well-known personality, sporting activity, festival, and any other function, an advertisement or publicity event that promotes the product must be submitted to the authority for approval. Must be submitted to the authority for approval. Now, this clause gives the authority the discretionary powers to either approve or deny any group seeking to work with that alcoholic beverage company. Okay. So that in itself makes it difficult for sports to benefit from the alcoholic beverage companies, because more often than not, they do not get approval when some of these sponsorship or partnership issues come up. Now, prior to that regulation or that law from the FDA, alcoholic beverage companies were easy to approach, and they easily supported sporting events and easily supported any event that had to do with football or any other sport discipline. But following that directive, football became one of the biggest losers from that directive. Even to the extent that even on our media platforms, you remember a lot of media houses had alcoholic beverage companies sponsoring the commentary they used to run on football games, or even live broadcasts of matches that we used to watch. A lot of advertising companies were part. Alcoholic beverage companies were part. But because of that directive, a lot of them had to draw back. That has robbed sports of a lot of resources that could have helped them, one way or the other. So we talk about Guinness as beverage giants.
The voice of sports.
When was the last time you saw Guinness actively sponsor any major sporting event in this country? They've had to draw back because of that particular regulation. And one way or the other, silently, it's been killing the football industry, the sports industry, especially football. And some of us have argued that, look, the fact that a sports entity possibly has an alcoholic company logo on its shirt doesn't mean that it is directly influencing the youth to go and drink. You see, you cannot find a direct link because really, these kids are drinking on their own. They are drinking on their own. Mm-hmm. Whether they see it or not, whether they see the logo or whether they see an advertising board running in the stadium with an alcoholic beverage, whether they see all of that or not, they are still drinking on their own.
Some people say that, well, there were seeds sown many years ago because of persistent advertisement.
No, you see, Nathan, and again, you cannot say that because of an advert that is being played, anybody who wants to drink or doesn't want to drink will be influenced one way or the other.
Okay.
What the FDA really should have been championing was to find a way to control exactly what goes out. What kind of adverts are we putting out? How enticing are they? And how do they affect those who are not in there? Influence their decision to get in there. Okay, some of these things can be managed. But an outright ban or a suspension clearly does not help, because you are denying other sectors of revenue that could have helped them. Again, that corporate entity itself, based on the numbers that maybe it would be getting or the mileage will be getting from some of these partnerships, again, we'll have revenue shortfalls because one way or the other, that mutual relationship, that win-win situation between both parties is not there. So we are saying that, look, the argument that because we are watching adverts on match days or during coverage of matches, or maybe a club advertising alcoholic drinks would influence everybody to go and drink, that is not the case. We watch Champions League football. We know the brands that sponsor Champions League. We watch the English Premier League. We know the alcoholic brands that follow the Premier League. And all. We see all that. Nathan, has that been the reason why you've decided to drink?
Sporty FM.
Oh no, I'm just asking.
I don't drink. Actually.
No, I'm saying that. Has that been the reason why you considered drinking?
No.
Thank you very much. So that is not wholly the case. That is not wholly true. So let's find ways of having a partnership that addresses all the problems and then finds ways to tackle some of the concerns that the FDA has.
Okay.
So I'm happy that the sports minister wants to take this on and find a way to resolve the issues so that sports can also benefit from some of these big companies who have the capacity to invest in sports. I think that it's robbed us of. You see, whilst trying to sanitize the space, create sanity, social sanity and all, you are killing another sector. You are killing another part of business, which would have benefited greatly from the investment of some of these companies. Okay? So, if you want to streamline some of these things, let's go back to the drawing board.
This is Sporty.
Let us see where the wins are. Let us see where the gains are. Let us also look at where the challenges are. Let us find a way to address both. So that moving forward, that win-win partnership, that win-win situation, and also that social issue you want to deal with is also addressed. So I'm excited that the minister wants to take this on, because a lot of calls have been made. Even the president of the GFA, when he met the president of the Republic, somewhere in 2023, again put this appeal before the president. Look, these things are killing the game.
The former president?
The former president.
Okay, when he met...
yes.
Okay, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
Okay.
So these things are killing the game. Let us find ways by which we can get this thing to work. So, Nathan, some of us are not saying, lift the ban and let's do anything anyhow.
Sporty FM.
But let's have a way of managing it and regulating it properly so that every sector benefits. And where we feel there's going to be distraction, again, that bit is managed well so that everybody wins. It will be very important. So I'm happy the minister has taken on this initiative. And I'm hoping that in the shortest possible time, he and the FDA can sit down together with the sports people, and then they can reach a compromise on how to move forward with this directive. But it's not helping. It's not helped, Nathan. It's not helped. Media houses have suffered, clubs have suffered, football, those who want to organized sport events have suffered. I mean, Nathan, and when you talk about those who have the money, these alcoholic beverage giants have the money. They have the money to invest. Okay? So, if we are talking about investment in our game and the challenges with regards to having money in our sports, these are some of the silent killers in the industry that have to be addressed. And I wish the minister well as he seeks to try to tackle some of these matters.
Okay, let's get to the line. Let's speak with the minister's aide, Wanda Mandel, and to give us some more clarity on these two things. So, one, the minister's visit, and then this thing about, lifting the ban on, alcoholic beverages, their sponsorship, and all of that. Wanda, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Nathan. I'm doing well by the grace of God. How are you doing also?
Well, we are fine. We are fine. Thank you. The minister was in Kumasi yesterday to do two things. One, I guess the main thing was to assess the state of the Baba Yara Stadium and plot the way forward in terms of its renovation and upgrade. And then he also shared some thoughts on this ban on alcoholic beverages and companies and their sponsorship and all. First, let's start off with the visit. We do know why. I mean, he did say he wanted to get an update on, the facility and all of that. What other details can you give us concerning the visit, why it happened, and maybe the possible steps after this visit has been done?
Okay, Nathan, good morning to your lovely listeners. Good morning to my good friend, Raymond. So, Honorable Kofi Adams has initiated a nationwide facility inspection to assess the real state of all our national sports facilities in Ghana. So, if you remember, we started from the Boteman Sports Complex, where he find out about the encroachment also going on there, and then he has taken some quick steps to make sure the land is being protected, and also any defect that being identified at Boteman is being fixed. So from there, the next big stadium, or the next iconic stadium that we outlined on the national inspection tour was Baba Yara Sports Stadium. So that's what took him to Kumasi yesterday, based on the plea of Bibiani Gold Stars and then Kotoko that will be going to interclubs, club champions competition soon. So we need to go and see that and see how quickly we can put that place together to make sure we made a standard. So that's what sent the minister to Baba Yara Sports Stadium yesterday.
I see. So following all of this, is there any info concerning when works will start, any timelines? What will immediately follow this visit?
Okay, so yesterday we realized a lot of defects. Apparently, if you remember, this facility has been renovated over and over again, and the last renovation that was 2022, and I think a bit done for 2024. But with the state that the facility was yesterday, we need some more investment in putting the facility together to make sure it's ready with this shortest possible time for beginning Gold Stars and then Santi Kotoko. So, Minister realized that the funds that have been generated at the stadium is very meager, whereby a match of Kotoko playing there, per the reports given to us by the estates manager of the regional sports authority at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, saying Kotoko games is generating as low as 1,900 cedis, and the other teams that play are generating 1,000 cedis overhead, with their ECG electricity bill per match or per day is almost at 15,000 Ghana cedis. So that's now they are owing ECG over 50,000 Ghana cedis, and they can't pay. So Minister expressed concern that we can't always continue to remain our IGF generation should be coming from just gate proceeds. We must create and find ways to raise funds to make sure we maintain and manage the facility properly. So as it stands now, the funds are not readily available, but as he always say, he believes in PPP. So he started speaking to some people. And the good news is that, or the breaking news is that after the visit, he also went to Ninehini also. And Ninehini was the most heartbreaking one. So he went to Ninehini and inspected the Ninehini Youth Resource Center, and that is very heartbreaking. And from there, he went to the Otumfo Osage to the king of the Ashanti kingdom, where he paid a courtesy call on Otumfo, and he narrated his journey to Otumfo, and Otumfo assured his promise, and then he said he should quickly submit his the estimates for the two venues, that is Ninehini and then the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. And His Royal Majesty promised that he will rally the fundraising from all the mining companies to make sure Baba Yara Sports Stadium and Ninehini is completed within the shortest possible time. And so this is the good news that we have. So PPP is still working. I want to say a very big thank you to His Royal Majesty for this confidence and this promise and this pledge, because said this also he can also do to help government, because they understand government alone cannot do it. So you rally and marshal the funds from some of the mining companies around so that Baba Yara Sports Stadium can quickly be fixed for Asante Kotoko, and then
this is Sporty FM, the voice of sport.
You mentioned the facility at Ninehini. You said it was heartbreaking. What exactly did the minister see there? What did he uncover when he went there for you to describe it as heartbreaking?
Oh, okay. So if you follow the news, this facility construction started around 2018, and this was under the former sports minister, Honorable Isaac Kwame Siama. And these resource centers started sprouting out across the country. And this administration, in the news was indicated that it is almost 95% complete. And when we went there yesterday, the place has been taken over by weeds and grasses, and it's devastating. We have fans that are not being fixed, just left. The outdoor of air conditions being crowded with so much weed and grasses, and even the main facility, I mean the ICT centers, the stores that have been built, the indoor areas that have been all taken over by grasses, and we now have ant hills developing around it. I think I'll share some few pictures and videos with you so that you can play to your listeners. And the NSA district sports development officer on site was telling us that the contractor that was there has left site in November, saying he will come back, but till now he's not back.
In terms of the structure, was there a structure, and when you looked at it, what percentage can you give in terms of like how much work had been done?
There is a structure,
yes,
and there is a structure with so this is giving us like an 80% work done. Okay, but leaving it for the time maybe will now cost us more even to bring it back. That 80% will now even depreciate the work done to like probably 40%, because if you look at the structure, it's been left to deteriorate, because there is a structure, a proper structure with offices, everything done with washrooms and all that, but they are left to desolate.
Okay, what about the how do I even say it? The areas, the various zones. Let me put it that way, for lack of a better way. So I'm talking about the playing surfaces, the football pitch, the court, and all. Are those things in place?
The court is not in place. The space is there, but we couldn't see the court. It's not in place.
Okay.
The volleyball courts are not in place. So the football pitch is there. It's there, and the football pitch is there. There's a VIP stand. It's ready, but now it has been deteriorated. There's a computer lab that's supposed to be there. The building is done with all the wiring and all the setup is there, but it's also deteriorating. We have the dressing rooms for players is there, it's deteriorating. We have offices, we have like a place for restaurants and canteens also completed, but they are all deteriorating, and this is how the state is. The football pitch per the report from the District Sports Development Office, I said some teams have been playing on it, and they even have stands. They even have sitting stands that I think that can be like 500 approximately, but it's supposed to be 5,000. And this sitting stand too is also deteriorating. We have some of the VIP seats that's supposed to be fixed at the VIP also left in abandoned in one small space that is also deteriorating. So the facilities are the zones are there. The football pitch is there fixed with a pole and then the net, but the pitch actually is not it's no more a standard pitch because there's a lot of grasses that have grown into the surface play, so it won't match up the main conditions where the facility is being put together. So ordinarily, it's like if we are coming there to work, or the work that will be done at in the resource center, it's more or less like starting everything again, despite these facilities that are there right now. So Nathan, I'll share you images and videos so that you can kindly take a look and access exactly the condition at Hinehini.
All right. So now that this is done, the minister has gone there. He's going to see the Asante Hene and all of that. What will follow? What will be the next line of action? Because it's all well and good. Yes, you have gone to see. You may share pictures. Ghanaian sports fans will see. Blah blah blah. But what is the next step? Because clearly that is money sunk into a project, and money we must benefit from as a country, a project we must benefit from. So what follows all of these visits and all of these things that the minister is doing now?
Okay, so I want to say a special thank you to the regional minister, Dr. Frank Amwakohene, and his team. So with Honorable Minister, they are trying to kind of like assess the real contract, especially for Hinehini, and then get in touch, because that project was done at the National Youth Authority. And even per engagement, they are saying the district development officer gave us that they've been chasing for even the land document, because there's also encroachment happening there as I speak to you. So we are getting in touch with the rights authorities that have the right documents to ensure that these contracts are being reviewed, and we know the necessary details, and fundraising will start. And as I said earlier, the Otun Force 82, His Royal Majesty has tasked Minister to immediately submit all the estimates for Baba Yara and Hinehini for him to rally the necessary funds for this completion. And Minister has already initiated some conversation with some state-owned agencies and some private companies to come on board and see how we can put these facilities in place or in shape for the good people of the Ashanti region.
All right.
So funds are being raised. It's not like just working visit, because as he always says, government alone cannot do it, and government alone doesn't have funds to fix all this. But if we leverage on the private-public partnership, I think all these issues can be addressed in the quickest possible time.
Okay, the next thing, the next big story really from the visit was the minister's take or his call on the ban on, advertisement of alcohol and all to be looked at again, so that some of these companies can sponsor. You work closely with the minister. In addition to some of these public statements, and I've heard him say that he said that in other places, he's even told me personally. Are there any backdoor, quote unquote, backdoor conversations or off the record or unofficial conversations between the minister and the FDA concerning this? Have there been any conversations, at least to start the process?
So Nathan, first of all, thank you for saying off-record conversations. Yes, there has been a lot of off-record conversations, because from the one Honorable Minister Kofi Adams took office, he realized that challenge, and he has been trumpeting it and has been engaging the necessary stakeholders on this issue, that what we are preventing our kids or the youth, we are watching it live on YouTube. It's everywhere. It's not just sports. And even when it comes to sports.
Hello, Wanda. Hello, Wanda. Okay, we'll have to work the line again and bring Wanda back. Wanda Mandel. He's the special aide to the sports minister, giving us further insight into the minister's visit to the Ashanti region. He went to the Baba Yara Stadium, went to the Youth Resource Center at Nyinahin. Ray, is it Nyinahini or Nyinahin? So he says that, okay, Wanda is back, so we can wrap up the conversation. Wanda, apologies, the line trip. Yes, you were making a point.
So I was saying that Honorable Minister Kofi Adams has been championing this issue since he took office. He has been engaging the necessary stakeholders for this decision to be reviewed, because if you look at even the GPO that you are banning people not to sponsor or not alcoholic beverages, not to engage with them, even the love there is no more. So people are not even watching it to say, oh, the youth are following it. The youth are following the EPL. And one of the biggest sponsors of the EPL is Guinness. And they watch it 24/7. It's everywhere, on our phones, on TV, on our screen. Heineken has been a major sponsor to the UEFA Champions League for some time now. So this decision really needs to be reviewed if we really want to raise funds for our sports, because that is like a big chunk of investment that is going away. So Minister has been engaging this. He has engaged in cabinet, he has engaged necessary stakeholders, and by the grace of God, we believe that very soon we have this issue being turned around, and we'll have some of our alcoholic sponsors coming on board again, because they hold a big chunk of the investment, and they are ready to invest. But banning them will not really help our sport at all. It won't really help our sports, because the funding is not there, and we have to raise the funding from all necessary angles.
Okay, Wanda, just finally, what's the next step? Is the minister staying in the Ashanti region for more engagements, or he's moving to other regions to continue his fact-finding mission in terms of the sporting facilities?
So the facility assessment tour is nationwide. So he returned back yesterday, because there are other engagements in Accra that he needs to look at. Honorable Ministers, a very hard-working man, not just for the show, as I said. So he's back to Accra for other necessary engagements, and then the facility inspection continues. So hopefully we'll be going to Sekendi to see the state of Sekendi, see Cape Coast and Tamale, and then look at what can be done for Volta, and then the other regions that don't have a sports stadium. We'll look at it, and also review all the youth resource centers and see the current state, assess it, and then do the necessary questioning and audit, so that these facilities can bring back to life, because this is government money sunk into the drill, and then we need to find a way to make sure these facilities serve the good people of Ghana.
All right, Wanda, thank you so much for the call. I'm sure we'll speak again really, really, really soon.
Definitely, hopefully
Okay.
soon. Hopefully.
All right, that was Wanda Mandel. He is a special aide, or the special aide to the Minister of Sports and Recreation, Kofi Idi Adams, there, giving us updates on the minister's visit to the Ashanti region, the Baba Yara Stadium. They went to Mensha to visit the great king, the Asante, and then he went to we'll share some of the pictures on our Facebook stream, so you can kindly find some of those pictures, some of those videos there. Ray, I'm sure you've seen some of them. It's I don't know how we commit money to projects, but we never ever ensure that they are done, they get off the ground, so we can get our money back. That's money that has been sunk into a facility. And when you check the pictures and videos, the structure is there. Good portions of the structure have been done, but there are a few things to work on. But 7 years since we started?
Yeah, you see, and that's why
Sporty FM.
Lots of these projects always end up costing us more than the initial budget.
Yeah.
Because once we are not quick enough to execute within the time frame, if we leave the facilities to deteriorate over a period, we now have to invest more again to bring those facilities to the level we expect it to be. So initially we were told that facility in Yinehin was 95% complete. Based on the pictures we've seen from the facility, it will take us up to 60%, 65% complete, because we've allowed a lot of the things that have been installed there or put up to deteriorate. So now we have to go outside the initial cost of the project, bring in some more funds to complete this project. Clearly a drain on the taxpayer. And these are some of the things that we should be concerned about. These are some of the things that governments should prevent from happening. There's a contractor, and I'm sure this contractor, if you get the contractor and get into a few of the details, a few of the matters surrounding why the project has not been fully executed, the contractor would raise issues of funding. The contractor will tell you at a point cash flow issues became a challenge, or even as at now, his inability to complete the project is as a result of cash flow issues. These are some of the things we are hoping would not be happening again, because it derails projects. This start-stop way of building things here clearly doesn't help anyone. So I'm excited that at least up to this point, the minister has put a good step forward. Let's find a way to finish it. I'm happy again that Santihene has pledged some form of support, rally support for the ministry to fix some of these things. I'm hoping that it happens. Now, when all of these things come together and the facilities are brought to life, become fit for purpose, I'm again hoping that managing it would, the managers or whoever is managing it will make sure they're able to make as much as they can from the facility. And in terms of having enough to run maintenance on these facilities, we're able to get there. Because Nathan, when we ask questions about what the NSA does with the facilities, because we know they give out the facilities for funerals, for parties, for all sorts of events. When we ask questions about how much they make and why, after giving out the facility almost every weekend, there's no money, all they say is they don't get enough from whatever they engage in with regards to giving out the facilities for whatever use. As to whether that is true or not, some of us would have expected, or some of us expect, the new NSA boss will conduct a thorough audit into the work of those regional NSAs, just to make sure there's proper accountability. How much comes in? How much goes into maintenance? How much goes into paying utility? All of those things. There must be a clear plan, so that when someone tells you all they make is 1,900 cedis, questions must be asked. How much came in? And just 1,900 cedis was what was realized from a Kotoko game at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. So the minister must get all the other areas to function properly. The NSA must be responsible enough. The NSA must be up and doing with regards to fundraising, revenue generation. All of those components must come to play. Otherwise, Nathan, if we are not able to streamline that side of things, we can invest lots of millions at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. But if the management is not prudent enough, if the management is not good enough, we'll come back next 2 years, come back to the same place, come back to the same point, minister taking another tour, inspecting the facility, realizing that things have deteriorated again. So as part of this, I am hoping that there will be a total reform of how the regional NSAs work, and proper audits conducted, and proper checks and balances put in place to make sure monies that should go into making sure the facilities are given a long life. Money is going to those spaces. So, Nathan, I'm hoping it's not going to be a tour. I'm hoping it's not going to be a ceremony as we've come to know in this country.
Okay.
I am hoping that indeed action will back the works and sayings of the Honourable Minister.
Let's go to the line. Let's speak with Michael Asai-Bredu. He's joining us from Sporty 91.3 in Kumasi. He was with the minister the entire day, up and down, visiting the places. So he will have a better perspective of what happened. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Nathan. Good. How about you?
We are fine. We are fine. Thank you so much. So we played your report earlier. We've spoken to Kofi Adams' special assistant, Wanda Mandel. You were with the minister. You saw things up close and personal. How did he react to some of the things he saw? So, for example, the Baba Yara Stadium, the things that were lacking, and the things he saw, the visit to the Youth Resource Center at So how did the minister take all of the things he was seeing? I'm sure some of the things he was seeing them for the very first time.
Well, as regards the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, he might have been updated on the state of the facility earlier. So his reaction was not much more in shock as compared to how he reacted to the state of the facility at Nyinehini. As for instance, most of the issues that came up during the inspection at the Baba Yara were issues that he had foreknowledge on, and he actually made some recommendations, and he requested that they furnish him with the comprehensive report on the current state of the facility so that they could expedite action on getting the right people, like contractors, to work on the various aspects of the facility. So in brief, the issues at the Baba Yara had to do with seating. Some of the VIP seats are, let's say, they have issues with it. They are not really fixed as expected. Some have also deteriorated due to weather conditions and the others. And so in the VIP session, they will need to work on some of the seats. Not many. I could count like some 3 or 4. And they will need to work on it. And then for the green stands, most of the seats have been broken. And this happened during the super zonals exercise when some students actually broke their chairs and then they used it as projectiles, aiming it against each other. And it is something that the NSA have engaged the GES and then the Schools and Colleges Sports Federation, and they've considered surcharging them regarding this. So meetings have been held regarding the seats that were broken by the students during the super zonals. The meetings have been held regarding that. Away from the seats on the pitch, there are issues with the dugout. And the dugout, as we already know, the original seats that were fixed were removed and then installed at Accra prior to Ghana's World Cup qualifiers. Then the seats have not been returned. So it lacks the needed seats to allow for CAF to agree that it is fit for purpose. So that will need to be worked on as regards the Baba Yara dugout. And then again, the dugout itself, it is not in shape. Initially, CAF allowed for an allowance where you create a space beneath where the dugout has its foundation, and then you just install the seats. Now, the new recommendation is that you will need to level up. So you fill where there are spaces in between. So as you can see on your screens, you see that they've actually fixed a metal holding and then they've laid a green grass around it. Now, they will need to just take out that metal holding, that platform, fill the space beneath it with concrete, make sure it is level, then they can replace it. Now, again, for the dugout, you can see that they welded the metal to the foundation. Now, there are loosenings in between. Where they fix screws, there is an unhinging of the screws. So there are loosenings within the dugout structure, and that would need to be worked on. So you can see on your screens, workers of the NSA informing the minister about the state, and he also saw it himself. and he made recommendations as to what they need to do. He was a bit surprised. I don't know whether he did not know that the seats at the Baba Yara were actually taken to Accra. And he asked that, did they have spare seats? And they said no. So it will look like they will need to procure new seats to use at the Baba Yara facility. And so these are other works that would need to be done there. For the pitch, he asked questions about it, and there is not much damage to the pitch as expected. Normally, every pitch, the surface, the grass, will need to be regrass after 4 years. This has not necessarily been done regarding the Baba Yara Stadium. And so the immediate recommendation was, how do we maintain it to be in shape or to be in optimal conditions to allow for Kotoko, Gold Stars, and any other team to use it? And they recommended that they will need to do some fertilization, redressing, and then top dressing. And this will not take beyond a month to make sure that they put it in optimal shape for use. And the minister's query on these subjects bordered on not just Asante Kotoko and then the BNA Gold Stars using the facility. It also transcended just the two teams. He was looking at, in the future where the Black Stars will need to play, is it possible that they can use the facility? So he asked questions revolving around that. Again, an issue with the pitch had to do with the watering system. The sprinklers are served by pumps. At the Baba Yara Stadium, there were 4 pumps or water pumps that were fixed. Now, out of the 4, they used 3 at a go, so that one becomes a backup. Then the 3, as it stands now, are spoiled due to overheating. So the system overheated and then it broke down. And so if you can see, I sent a video to Fly earlier. If he shows that video, you will see that the pumps in the room or in the, let's say, the station where you have the pumps, you have the water heater, generator, and everything, you can see that of the 4 pumps, only one is functioning and is not able to generate enough pressure for the sprinkling system or the sprinkler system. And so they are not able to pump enough water to water the grass. And at times they would have to do it manually due to their issues again with the Electricity Company of Ghana, where they owe electricity bills. The amount now exceeds 50,000 Ghana cedis. Initially, when we reported it, they declined. They said they did not owe, but yesterday it became clear that they do actually owe the ECG, and it amounts to over 50,000 Ghana cedis. So as you can see on your screens, these are the pumps. 3 are spoiled, and only 1 is actually functioning, and is not able to generate enough pressure to serve water to the sprinkler system to water the grass, and that also needs to be fixed. There were issues about the floodlight system. Now it is measured in lakhs. Now the total number of lakhs that they need to generate to ensure that there is enough brightness is low, and the recommendation from the estate manager and the other technicians at the NSA was that they would need to equip the floodlight system with enough light and then enough power to ensure that it is able to generate beyond the capacity that CAF is recommending. And so those were also discussions that were had regarding the state of the Baba Yara Stadium. And there were general questions around it. The minister asked as to whether they had any contractor who had to do specifics as regards what was wrong and what needs to be fixed. And they said that they were not in a position to generate much money because as it stands, whenever Kodoko plays there, attendance is not that encouraging. And the best they've generated from a Kodoko game amounts to around 1,900 Ghana cedis. And they're able to generate enough money from recreational activities like funerals, keep fit exercises, and every other stuff that the stadium does so that they will be able to generate enough revenue. Now, they are able to generate much from that, but the issue is initially, the NSA were paying their overhead cost at the various regional bodies. Now, the IGF is used to service that overhead cost. So, for instance, debt that they owe the ECG, they are supposed to pay not less than 10,000, 15,000 every month. So, if they generate like 20,000 or let's say 18,000, a chunk of it is going into servicing such debt, and they are not able to generate enough to maintain the facility. So they made a petition to the minister that if it will be helpful, and if it can be possible, then the ministry should look at reverting to the old system where the head office assumed the overhead costs, like let's say electricity bills and the others, and then they would use the money that they generate internally to maintain the facility. It is actually something that the minister noticed, and he said he will work on it, and then they will look at the best way possible out of this situation. And through the Q&A, I was the one that actually asked him about the ban on alcoholic beverage sponsor companies in sponsoring sports, and the answer, I think you've discussed it thoroughly.
Yes.
He reviewed that he will work on it, and it is something that they will look towards to ensure that there is enough revenue generated within the sporting industry. Because I asked him a question in relation to two sectors. For instance, the betting companies and then the alcoholic beverage companies. Now, these are brands that we've antagonized. We've seen them as enemies to our sports development. So, for instance, in 2017, Guinness wanted to sponsor the Ghana Tertiary League. It was then being organized by Rice Sports, I think it's Yao Sechi and his gang.
Yeah.
Sorry, his crew.
Yeah.
Now, when they had put forward everything and then they initially completed the first installment of that competition, in the second year, when Guinness wanted to continue, the FDA shut it down and then they declined. Initially, it collapsed the Ghana Tertiary Football League, and we have not seen it again.
That's true.
At a point in time, ABC, Golden Lager, Guinness had associations or sponsorships with the Ghana Football Association regarding various products. Guinness was sponsoring the Gala competition. ABC was sponsoring the Ghana Premier League. As it stands now, they can't. And so we are just pushing them away when we are crying for investment into our sports. Again, the betting companies, the GFA has seen them as enemies, quote unquote, when they can actually be partners in terms of developing the game. And as such, they are benefiting from the local football product. So companies, and let's say the Premier League, the Division 1 League on their platforms, people bet on them, they make money. But to what extent are they contributing the monies that they make from Ghana football into the football sector? And it is because we've not been able to set up structures well to accommodate them or welcome them into the sector. So the minister answered that, yep, it is something that he will be taking up, not just as a sports and recreation minister, but also as a member of parliament. And he feels the necessary stakeholder engagements will need to be had to proceed on this matter and then see headway as regards it. Then from the Baba Yara Stadium, we proceeded to Ninehini, and that is where things became more alarming because the facility has sat idle by some few community-based teams and then some schools around the area who use it for their sporting activities. The facility has actually never been officially commissioned. It has never been officially used, and it has been left to rot. I must put it that way because it is actually in a very deplorable state. The seats have been fixed in the stands, and there is no clear plan because as it stands now, the pitch even which they play football on, it is dominated by weeds. So it is not in playable conditions. But for a school, for any community team, they will see it as playable enough. Let's just use it. The tartan tracks that were earmarked to be done has not been done as it stands now. So it is just gravels and then soil that dominates the area. And the schools use it for their sports activities. So no tartan tracks. The area that was earmarked as a place for high jump, triple jump, it is still not finished yet. Then again, they created a small room for indoor sports. And I doubt if that room can actually contain 2 table tennis tables or plates.
Yeah.
It can't.
Really? It's that small?
Yeah, it can't. No. That room is so small enough that I don't think it can actually have a king-size bed fitted in there. It can't. And then even if you stand, you would have to postulate in a manner where you can be comfortable because you can't stand as you expect, especially if you're a very tall person. But it was earmarked for an indoor sports sector. Again, you can see that they have fixed the air conditioners in the washrooms, but they've not even fixed the showers. And you can also tell that weeds are taking over the facility as well. That aside, they procured seats for the VIP section, and the seats have been left to rot. So you can see droppings of lizards, birds. You can see them directly on the seats, and then they are deteriorating. And the seats are not even complete. They only provided just a section of those seats at the Yinehini facility. And then again, there were issues about the walls, molds, and everything had eaten into the walls, and then the paints were peeling off. They had installed, and then they had also taken off some of the fixtures and fittings, including ceiling fans and the others. Then again, there were issues about the windows and everything. But the biggest issue, aside the deplorable state the Yinehini facility was in, had to do with land encroachment. Some people had encroached the land. They claimed that they had the documents, legal documents, to claim that they are actually the owners of the land because they had bought it, procured everything, and then the land belonged to them. So the biggest issue with the Yinehini facility is that the land is open, and people are encroaching and then eating into the land. The advice or the recommendation that was made by the district sports development officer stationed there was that immediately they will need to construct a wall just to protect the facility so that people don't eat into the land further. And the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amakwene, promised that he would engage the chiefs and the traditional rulers within the area to ascertain the veracity of such claims by the people who had encroached on the land. And so these are some of the developments at the Yinehini facility as well. So I think in a nutshell, the minister was exposed to the realities on the ground, and he looked a bit concerned, but he was also positive that if there was that commitment to the cause, and if all stakeholders came together, they could ready the two facilities to be available for use by teams and also schools and any other stakeholder who would love to use the facility as well. So from there, he proceeded to Menchia to engage the Asantehene, pay courtesy calls on him, and then he also received the support of the Asantehene in what he wants to do regarding the facilities in the Ashanti region.
All right, that's quite the package. That's quite the package. Michael, thank you for that update. So for our listeners, yeah, that's at least now you know what the sports minister was up to in the Ashanti region. We'll keep an eye out on that. We'll keep an eye out to see what follows, but that is the state. And as I said, you can follow our socials, go to our stream to see all the videos, all the pictures and everything from the minister's visit to the Baba Yara Stadium and the Youth Resource Center in Yinehini. Now, don't forget, at 8:30, we have a very interesting interview for you. Gary Al Smith interviewed Tony Payne. Tony Payne plays for the Nigerian Super Falcons team. They are at the Women's WAFCON, and they are there. And Gary had a very interesting chat with Tony Payne, who's a player of the team. And, they spoke about Nigeria, Mission X, and all of that, and the fact that they want to win yet another title. And they want to do well at the AFCON. But let's go to the US. Let's go to the US, where last night it was a good time. If you're a Real Madrid fan, it wasn't a good time at all. If you support Paris Saint-Germain, it was absolutely wonderful. PSG beating Real Madrid by 4-0 in the Club World Cup semi-final 2. It was a very, very interesting time. So for those who missed out, here's a rerun of what happened last night. a little later. I just wanted to remind people what happened last night. Last night, if you are the Honeysuckle Airport branch, I'm sure you enjoyed it. So Ray, I'm sure it was good. Later on, we'll talk about how nice it was.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Imota took care of me. So
he took good care of you.
Yeah, he gave me
he gave you a lot of things.
Yes, including a lot of things to drink.
He said he gave you water.
Okay.
No problem. Yes. No problem. Anyway, we'll go to Morocco now to talk about the women's AFCON. Then we'll do Club World Cup after that. But yesterday, very interesting results. Congo DR 2, Morocco 4, Zambia 3, Senegal 2. Those were the two games played. In that particular serving. It was yesterday. Gislan Chebak, Moroccan captain, super stuff. She scored, I think, 3 times, I believe. And then they beat DRC by 4 goals to 2. It was a very close game at a point. Let me put it that way. It was close at a point because DRC led, Morocco equalized. It was 2-1. DRC pulled it back to 2-2. And then the Moroccans found separation from that point to make it 4-2. And then in the other game, Barbara Banda, she scored twice as Zambia beat Senegal by 3 goals to 2. It was a very enjoyable game yesterday. The Zambians, really solid, really tough side. Really tough side. Yeah. And they are a team that can cause problems in this AFCON. They can cause lots of problems in this AFCON. Barbara Banda, we know what she can do. Rachel Kundanaji, the world's most expensive female footballer, also did her bit there. And then ended up beating Senegal by 3 goals to 2. Earlier I spoke about Senegal. They are a very decent side. Very good side. I love their passing game. I love their aggression. I love what they do. But you could just tell that they couldn't outlast the Zambians. They just couldn't outlast the Zambians. And the Zambians using all their tools and weapons to get a 3-2 result. On the Moroccan side, on the Moroccan game, well, I also caught snippets of it. It was an interesting one. And I speak about, yesterday we heard from the Moroccan ambassador, investment. And you can tell that they are doing something in that country. And I think it's with all the other countries, Zambia and things. They are doing something. They are giving the women's game a strong push. You can tell that they are really grooming very solid players. Players are really good, technically sound. Chebak is a wonderful player that they have. Captain, leader, their inspiration. And she scores majority of the goals as well. And the crowd came out to cheer them on. It was really fun seeing the Moroccans in their numbers. Yeah. They played at the Rabat Stadium. And it was absolutely wonderful seeing them do really well, and show what they can do. So the Moroccans are on the board now. They've got 4 points. Zambia also on 4. And we wait to see what will happen. Today, Botswana versus Nigeria, that's at 7. And Tunisia versus Algeria, which is at 4 p.m. So it's a North African clash between Tunisia and Algeria. Both teams are hoping that they can get points on the board. Tunisia lost to Nigeria. And then Algeria, they beat Botswana 1-0. So a win for Algeria sets them up for the quarters. While for Tunisia, they are hoping that they can get on the board and see how they can get their campaign kick-started. So that's the lowdown.
See, Nathan, I watched that, the highlights of that Morocco-Zambia DR Congo game.
Yeah, Morocco DRC.
It was exciting to watch.
Yes, it was.
And you see, Nathan, like I said, when you are going into tournaments like this, it's very important that you find a way to blend the quality you have at your disposal. You definitely have some very young players with lots of experience. You definitely get some young players without experience, championship experience. You get young players who have exceptional talent but need some of the old folks to guide them. So look at this Moroccan team, okay? They have lots of seasoned campaigners in there. So Chebak, who scored yesterday, he plays for Barcelona. She is 34, okay? In defense, they have Rabah, who plays for FAR Rabat, Aziza Rabah. She's 39. Their goalkeeper.
Wow.
Yes, their goalkeeper. Emichi. She's 35. Okay. And then at right back, there's Hani Aitel Haj. She's 30. Then you again go up front. Ridey. She's 32. So she's supposed to be the main striker for them. She's 32. So you look around that team, you look across that team, and it's littered with lots of players who have experience. So in midfield, there's Najat Badri. She's 37. So if they don't have the legs to carry them, they have the young ones who are 23 and the like. So Radwani is 25. You see other players like Kangnot, 26. So they have that fine mix in there. So where they need experience, the experienced ones find a way to manage the girls on the field of play. Now, that is how to put together a well-drilled side to go into a tournament and deliver. You need the experienced ones in there. Elsewhere, the experienced ones who really would go to that, would get into that team and bring in some calm, and we seem to abandon those players and believe that we are building a totally new team.
What if those experienced players are not in form?
No, you see, Nathan.
Because some people argue that form is everything. Form plus experience is great.
There are lots of experienced players in our local game. But they would get overlooked because we feel they've been with the team for too long. Okay.
Are they in form?
Nathan, they are in form. Most of them are in form. Most of them are playing consistently for some of the clubs we know. So, in terms of squad building for tournaments like this, it's important you have a good mix.
Okay.
A good blend. Youth, experience, inexperience, all of that must come to the party. Unfortunately, there's a lot of inexperience in our squad. You can't buy it. It only comes with playing over time, playing consistently, playing at this level for a period. That is when you get it. And so I'm sorry to say that our campaign at this year's WAFCON may not end as we want it. You see, and it's not exclusive. It's not exclusive to Ghana. Okay.
The Queens are playing tomorrow.
Zambia have lots of those players in there as well.
Okay.
So you look at Norris' team. There are lots of players in there who are around the age of 25, 26. But again, you have the oldies in there who would either come in from the bench or start games and deliver. So they have this player, Nachula. Nachula in that team, right? Nachula is 39. She's been with that team for a very long time. She's been there with that team all through these years. And they have very young players too. So there's Mapalo Maluba. She's just 18, but she's part of the team. And she's playing just alongside Nachula. Okay. So you have experience and youth, and you have all those things coming together to give you a well-drilled side. Okay. So when we say find a way to get local coaches to manage the teams, we know what we mean. We know how they can assess the squad and how well they can get the best out of the materials they have, because they've seen them, they know what they can do.
Okay. Well, the Black Queens play tomorrow, 4 p.m. They take on Mali in their second group game and all. But before that, Nigeria play later today at 7 p.m. They take on Botswana. Now, one of the players in that team is Antoinette Payne, or Tony Payne, as she's popularly called. She plays for the Nigerian Super Falcons team. She plays in England for Everton in the Women's Super League. Now, she's been part of the Nigerian setup for a while, and she played for Nigeria 2021, went to the FIFA World Cup. She was at the last WAFCON and all of that. And she, sat down with our team lead Gary Al Smith to talk about Nigeria and what they want to achieve at this year's WAFCON, what they want to achieve in Morocco as they go on mission X. And so we have that interview for you. Remember that interview between Gary Smith and Antoinette Payne is courtesy of Sporty FM's partnership with Puma for the ongoing Women's WAFCON. So here's that interview between Gary Smith and Super Falcons player Antoinette Payne. Enjoy.
So congratulations to you, Tony, first of all. And welcome to Sporty FM. We are a 24-hour sports station here in Ghana. We absolutely love talking to WAFCON stars. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
Right, so congrats to you and the Falcons on a fine opening win. How would you describe the win against Tunisia to us?
Yeah, so I would say we kind of have a fire under us, especially because of how the last WAFCON kind of ended for us. And so I think entering into this first game, we kind of remembered how our first game went the last time against South Africa, us getting that loss. I think it was really important for our team to get a win for the first game, just, practicing our principles and exactly how we want to perform this tournament. And I think, of course, we wouldn't say it was a perfect performance, but we're satisfied. We achieved our goal, and we're just ready for the next game.
You were born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, but now wear the green and white of Nigeria. Can you take us briefly through what that was like and the journey of your identity as well?
Yeah, so growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, I wouldn't say that I was exposed to, a huge part of Nigerian culture, especially growing up. I think for the first time, I was able to really connect to the Nigerian side of me would be when I joined the Super Falcons. And so I'm definitely, internally grateful, to the team for that. I feel like I've, finally been able to morph into, my true self. So, it's not only that I've been able to achieve so many great things, in my life and the goals that I've had with football, with Nigeria, but it's also more personal for me because I feel like I didn't have that so much growing up. And so to be able to, at least once a month or every year be around so many people that share the same culture, it's really special for me.
What made you commit to the Super Falcons?
Yeah, as many people probably know, I grew up, playing football all my life and being integrated into the national team system. I did that all through my youth, and I think it just came down to, just having this feeling of when you're watching the World Cup and I see the Super Falcons play, I had this kind of feeling deep down that that's something that I would want to be a part of. I always watch the team and I see, them dancing together, and it's just a whole nother, feeling and passion that I think I didn't feel when I was playing for the US. And again, I always craved to have that kind of feeling and that deeper meaning. So when the opportunity came to play with the Super Falcons, I was obviously ecstatic, and it wasn't really anything that I had to think about. So.
Right. So picture the moment you first walked out on the pitch as a Nigerian national team player.
Yeah. So I think my first camp, I traveled to Turkey. Obviously, I was extremely nervous. I wasn't really sure how my future teammates would receive me. As you know, I didn't grow up in Nigeria and hadn't played with many of the players before. So definitely had a lot of nerves, but the team is so welcoming and so loving. And I think I was able to score then too. So it was just an amazing feeling.
Wicked. So back to the WAFCON, the feeling among the fans is that Nigeria can win its 10th title, its own Decima, right?
Yeah.
What's the feeling like among you guys, the players?
Yeah, we've kind of talked about it as a team that, we missed out on it the last time. And it was such a gut-wrenching feeling that, none of us want to feel that again. We also have a situation where we have, half the team who have won a title before, who have won multiple titles, and you have another half who have never won it before. So there's just, so much like fire and, like hunger to get this one. I think it will mean so much for our team if we can get the trophy this time.
And Tony, you were part of the U.S. youth system and even won the U20 World Cup in 2012, right?
Yeah.
What lessons or mentality did you carry from that setup into your international career with Nigeria?
Yeah, I think, it's I feel like it's kind of, helped me because the U.S., you can tell, is such a, it's such a, how would I say, like such a dominant, I guess, force in women's soccer. And so, constantly being around that winner mindset, I think helped me to transition here because obviously I'm playing for, the Giants of Africa. Like they've won it 9 times. Like, if you talk about domination, I mean, the first name that comes up is Nigeria. So, I definitely coming into this team, that's something that me and a lot of others who grew up like me, we have a lot of Nigerian Americans in the team and Nigerian Europeans. So, we also want to be a part of a team that, is dominant and knows how to win tournaments and championships. So,
in your mind's eye, you look at the expanse of the tournament. Who are your main threats to winning the SEMA?
Honestly, especially with this last game against Tunisia, I know the score reflected a game as what you would say is dominant, but I think every team here has, really improved within their federations, and you can see the growth of women's football in Africa just by watching this tournament, and I think that's so positive and so amazing to see. I mean, the obvious one, South Africa, they were able to get it last time. We're hoping that that's not going to happen this time. But, Morocco, the host, they're a great team as well, and Zambia, of course, so.
Yeah. Let's come to my Ghana. Ghana and Nigeria have always been BFFs, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to women's football, Nigeria has admittedly taken a quantum leap for a while now. I know Niger has its own unique issues. We could spend the whole day there. But what do you think my Ghana can learn from Nigeria as we look to bounce back to our former glory when it used to be just us two?
It's tough to say because, you can see that there's been a lot of growth, but you can also tell that we still have so much headway to make within our federations, especially in Africa. I think that, it's definitely something that takes time and it's not going to be fixed within a year or two. But I think, a huge step would be just, our federation showing that they care about women's football and that they want to grow the game. I know a lot of the time the priority has been on, the men's programs, but I think they can kind of see how successful the women's programs are becoming and how when you invest in the team, you get a return on your investment. So I'm just hoping that in the future, our federations will take us more seriously, kind of see us as, people who can make a difference. I know a lot of young girls look up to us, and I think a lot of the times it's hard to get young women into sports. And I think if they invest in us and they see us grow, it's just going to be, like a domino effect.
For the second WAFCON in a row, the prize monies have been increased. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, right. We were just discussing it, we had, meetings with CAF and everything. And that was one of the things we discussed is, we see that I think the men's prize money is 7 million, whereas ours before was around 400,000 or something like that. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's up to 1 million now. And I think that's such an amazing thing on CAF's part that they've been able to do that for us. I'm hoping that in the future, of course, it'll grow and it'll be more, but I think that's an amazing step that they've taken just to show that they're really invested in us and that they see, a future for female footballers.
There's more television coverage for the WAFCON now. Like, I don't know if you saw the list of broadcasters who have expressed an interest and are actually showing the suddenly, I mean, you've always not been in a hole, but suddenly Tony Payne can be seen in all the ends of the world. How does that make you and the girls feel?
Yeah, it makes me feel really good. I think exposure is something that we've been craving. I think that, you know, for all of us, our families at home, just to be able to see us, especially if they're not able to travel here, I know it's always, you know, a hiccup for women's football, but the fact that it's being broadcasted, that everyone's able to see us on TV is amazing. It's going to do nothing but grow the game and, you know, help us in the long run. It's great.
One of the big issues in African women's football is getting access for the players to top clubs, not just any clubs, to top clubs. You know, Nigeria seems to be lucky, or maybe you work hard at it, to churn out players who play for pretty top teams. Any advice for the other countries looking to get their talented players to those levels as well?
Yeah, you know, I guess trying to be as unbiased as I can, you know, you kind of see there's kind of a prestige when it comes to playing for Nigeria. We have one of the best African footballers in the world in our team, Asisa Oshuala. You know, she's played in the top clubs of in the world. So, you know, I think that just goes to show that there's so much talent within our team, Nigeria. But, I mean, you can see it in other nations. You can see it in South Africa. You can see it in Morocco. You can see it in Zambia and Malawi and a ton of other countries. You can see that there's, you know, there are top players to be found in Africa. It's just a matter of how can we get more exposure for them? How can we put them in spaces where they can thrive and achieve and get the same opportunities as those of, you know, Central America, Europe, Asia? How can we put ourselves on the map as well?
Right. Now let's come to you. We've spoken about everybody, but not at all of you. Your style is dynamic. You know, you've got flair, but you are fast as well. Would you say, some people have said you mix the American and the Nigerian element of your identity very well. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I would say that if I was able to compare the two styles, I would say they're actually quite similar. I know the U.S. has always been quite a direct team, and Nigeria as well. I know they say for the U.S. they like to use their physicality and their strength and their speed, and that's, for me, exactly what Nigeria likes to do as well. That's exactly what, you know, we try to emulate in our play. Yeah, I think right now we're really trying to focus on, you know, our technical and tactical aspect of, you know, just keeping the ball and being better on the ball. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then still on you. You played in Spain's top division for a while, you know, with Sevilla, 2018 to 2024. I mean, that's long, isn't it? How that helped shape you as a player, and why did you stay there that long?
Yeah, after I graduated from university, I played for 1 year in the Netherlands for Ajax. And after that, I moved to Spain. That was honestly, I think, probably the turning point and, you know, the real game changer for me in my development. The Spanish style, I think, you know, just gave me a whole nother perspective on football and a way of playing. And yeah, you can tell I enjoyed my time there. I was there for 6 years. So yeah, I really enjoyed the league. It's, you know, one of the best leagues for women's football right now. They definitely have room to grow, and hopefully they continue to grow and not stay stagnant. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, that style of play has helped me, especially with coming into Nigeria, because I think that's something that our team likes to, or tries to play like. Then
you moved from Spain to the other best league in the world, the WAFCON. Yeah. Everton, tell us about that move and what do you seek to achieve there and all that?
Yeah, you know, it was definitely bittersweet to leave Sevilla. It was my home for 6 years, and I definitely enjoyed my time there. I definitely enjoyed the league, but, you know, after some time, it was definitely the moment for me to make a change. So I knew that I eventually always wanted to play in the WSL. I wanted to play in England, and yeah, Everton, was an opportunity that presented itself, and there's so much history in Liverpool with that club, and I think a theme for me has been, me playing for teams that have so much history and passion, and it's been really nice to be a part of those types of programs. So I'm really enjoying my time at Everton. I really love the league. I think it's extremely competitive, I would say. They're probably the top league in Europe right now. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying my time there.
Yeah. You've played both as a forward and as a midfielder, right? Where do you feel that you best express yourself on the pitch? I've always wondered.
Yeah. It's interesting because, my dad, he coached me growing up, and I think in his own way, he's always wanted to mold me into, an attacking midfielder. And I think that's what I grew up playing. Once I got to university and once I got to pro, I transitioned into being a winger, mostly because of my speed. So yeah, it's definitely interesting how, when we play, when I play with Nigeria specifically, it's kind of a mix between the two positions. I definitely say I prefer to be a winger. It's definitely more fun for me. But, I'm happy in any position. I'm just happy to be, representing the nation and playing in this team. But, yeah, I love being a winger.
I see. Also, I saw that soccer dad drop there. Hi, Dad. Yeah, he must have had a big influence. You speak about him very fondly, about your growth and what influence he had. That's awesome to hear. Maybe a quick word on your dad and a shout out to him.
Yeah, it's been such a joy. I don't think he probably ever expected to see, his kids or his daughters playing for Nigeria wearing the green and white. And the same for my mom. It's always such a joy when they're able to come and watch us because, I play with my sister as well, Nicole. She's dealing with an injury now, but she's on her way to recovery. But yeah, I think he just wanted to, provide a better life for us. And he decided to do that through the sport route. And he's definitely passionate about football, but I don't think it was ever on his bingo card to have both of his daughters playing for Nigeria.
Sporty FM.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nigeria, let's come to Puma. You've been working, with them on this WAFCON and how they've supported it and all that. What is your impression of the way Puma has put its toes and its feet and its entire being into women's football in general and African women's football in particular?
Yeah, I think definitely over the last few years since I've been working with Puma, I've seen that, they've been a brand that's been, very good about uplifting African football, especially women's football as well. I think it's amazing that they're able to, be the main sponsor of this tournament. Yeah, I know that, due to, technical issues and things that the exposure for this tournament wasn't there in terms of having it be known that we were playing, kind of a remake for this year because it was supposed to be last year. But I think they've done a great job with, trying their best to get it exposed. And I think they're doing everything that they can. So I think that's all we can ask for. There's definitely room for improvement in all areas. It's not only, one person or one entity, but it takes all of us, from the players, the federations, broadcasting, marketing, it takes all of that. So I'm excited to see, this in the future. So very happy with that.
Looking at the global game, as we wrap up, Tony, looking at the global game, who are the 3 players you'd absolutely love to play with or against before you retire?
Oh, wow. That's hard to say.
With
3 people?
Against?
With, ooh.
Caught you there.
So, sorry?
I caught you there.
You did. So, yeah, some people that, Marta is definitely an idol of mine. I love how she plays, so that's one player I would love to play with. I'd probably say Barbara Banda. She's an amazing player. I love her speed and just she's such an exciting player to watch, and so it'd be amazing to play with. And on a club level, I think I would love to play with a fellow Super Falcon. It doesn't matter who it is, but just to have, another member of your national team in a club team would be such a great feeling for me. So I'm hoping to one day have that.
So, two things. I'm going to ask you about a Nigerian legend and then something for the young girl. So first, if I could schedule an interview with a big Nigerian women's football legend for you, a one-on-one dinner, plus location, everything on point, who would it be?
Yeah, for me, easy. That's Desire. She's such an inspiration for me. Everything she's done. Yeah, of course. She's done so much for our national team, and she's such an inspiration. And yeah, I'd love to, she's here in Morocco, actually. Yeah, she's there for the last game. It was so great to see her. And I think she's doing so much to grow the women's game in Africa. So yeah, definitely her.
Now, to the young girls, something to inspire them. What's one thing you've had to sacrifice for this career and all these young girls will not realize? Looking at you, seeing all the almost finished products, what have you had to sacrifice that they don't know?
Yeah, for me, it's probably going to be immediate family. That's something that, has to kind of be on the back burner a lot of the times. Ever since I graduated from high school, when I turned 18, I left home. I wasn't able to see my family every day like I would have liked. As soon as I graduated university, I left to go overseas, and it came down to seeing them once a year probably. And that definitely takes a toll on you. But what's great about football is that you're able to build another sort of family, and that being your teammates and, anyone else and other types of communities you can find in whatever part of the world you're in. So I would say that, but most of the time they're just one phone call away. And so it's definitely, something that you grow to get used to and learn from. I think it takes it gives you a lot of character building too as well, because you can come into your own without, having, kind of the crutch that a family can be for you a lot of the time.
Speaking of that, it reminds me, we do a lot of women's football here as well, and mental health is finally being discussed more here and in sports as well. How do you stay grounded, Tony, and motivated during your tough spells? You've been away from family since you were a teenager. How do you stay grounded, especially being away from those you love? What's your message to the young girl who's watching you now or listening?
Yeah, I'd say, religion, Christianity, God is a huge part of my life. I think, he's the main one that I refer to when I'm, going through tough times. Prayer is a big part of, my routine and what I do to kind of keep myself grounded. And I think that everyone has their own way of dealing with their mental health. I think it's amazing that most teams have access to mental health professionals, sports therapists that you can talk to when you're going through something. And of course, I'm like to be able to, I call my mom all the time. She's someone that I can really, can kind of snap me back into reality. I think she really helps with reminding me how lucky I am to be doing what I'm doing and kind of open up my perspective whenever I'm going through something tough. So, yeah, that's what I'd say.
Thank you so much for your time. And final thing I'd ask you, a 13-year-old Nigerian girl is dreaming of being like Tony Payne. Nigerian girl, Ghanaian girl, African girl in Asia, looking at you. I want to be like Tony Payne. What are you going to tell her in terms of advice?
Advice I would say is just truly to believe in yourself. I know that a lot of the times with sports, we can look for outside validation, but at the end of the day, a lot of the success comes from within and a lot of the confidence comes from within. So not to say to be egotistical, but you do kind of have to have another type of confidence and mindset if you're going to make it in this game. And so, that's definitely the advice I would give. It's just to have tons of confidence.
We appreciate your time and thank you for spending this time with us. We know you're in camp. You probably should be sleeping by now. The next game. And good luck with that, with winning the
Thank you so much.
African Cup of Nations. So that's the professional me speaking. The Ghanaian me will say, no good luck. Go as far as you can, but don't win.
We'll see about that, but thank you.
About that. Thank you and all the best. Take care. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
So that was a Gary Smith's interview with Antoinette Payne of the Super Falcons team taking part in the Women's AFCON. Wonderful interview. And it was kind courtesy of Sporty FM's partnership with Puma for the ongoing WAFCON. Now, Antoinette Payne, she played 82 minutes in Nigeria's first game against Tunisia. The Nigerians themselves are prepping for their next game. They take on Botswana later today at 7 p.m. in the Women's AFCON. Talking about the Nigerian team, let's get some great perspective. We've been joined by Dr. Victor Ademola. He's a Nigerian sports journalist and he's keeping his eye on the Super Falcons in Morocco. Victor, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. It's good to be here as well. Nice being here on this show.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Sporty Breakfast on Sporty FM in Accra. So Nigeria 3 points in the back. They've beaten Tunisia. What are the expectations ahead of tonight's game? They take on Botswana. Of course, the expectation is that Nigeria will win. But from your perspective, quickly, what are the big points from the first game? And what should Nigeria do in the second game if it wants to get 6 points and seal its place in the next stage of the competition?
Yes, so from the first game, we won that 3-0 against Tunisia. I'm sure the coach, of course, is happy with the result. We got 3 points in the bag. But we missed so many opportunities, and that's the areas that the team will be working on in this game against Botswana. Because remember, Botswana lost their opening game to Algeria by 1-0. So they're going to come out strong against Nigeria, hoping to, if they can, get all 3 points, or maybe just a point, which might be enough for them if they win the last game against Tunisia to make it to the quarterfinals. Nigeria is quite strong. The girls are positive. They're in good spirits. And they faced Botswana at the last edition at the WAFCON in Morocco as well. The second group game, they won that 2-0. So going into the second game at this year's WAFCON, they'll be hoping to at least first get out 3 points. Even if they win by 1-0, they have to get 3 points at first. So that ensures they get to the quarterfinals of this competition. And secondly, they will be hoping to score more goals. Maybe the coach would have changed some of his approaches to the next game. This game against Botswana, and we might have a different starting lineup. I'm anticipating that.
Finally, you mentioned changes. What kind of personnel changes do you think that the coach will make to that starting 11? They won 3-0 to Tunisia. Why make changes anyway?
Yes. So we won 3-0 to Tunisia. At the pre-match press conference the coach had, he mentioned the fact that, of course, there's some lessons learned from the last game against Tunisia. And that will be, converting the chances. And the player of the game, at the last game, came in the second half, Esther Okonkwo. So maybe that might be another change. Or maybe sticks to his old team that started the previous game. We just have to wait to find out. But the idea is to get the qualification as early as possible. If possible, pick on 9 points, this particular point in competition.
Finally, Victor, if I pushed you to give us a prediction, what do you think the scoreline will look like after 90 minutes today?
Yeah, if Botswana had won their game, I would have easily said we'll win this game 5-0 or 6-0. But they're going to come out strong. Botswana will come out strong. They come out strong. They want also to get a result out of this game. So I would say maybe 2-0 or 3-0. That would be fine. I'll take that.
Okay, Victor, thank you so much. We'll speak again soon. We'll see how the Nigerians fare tonight, 7 p.m. Ghana time. Victor, thank you so much once again.
We also face Ghana today in the under-20 boys WAFCON. We will win that as well.
we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for joining us on the Sporty Breakfast on Sporty FM. That was Dr. Victor Ademola. He's a Nigerian sports journalist. Nigeria play Botswana in their second game of the women's AFCON in Morocco. Now, Zambia, they played last night. We'll try and see if we can get some perspective from a Zambian angle to see what they are doing in the competition, how they are faring, and what they make of Nora Hutla. Remember Nora Hutla? Yeah, she used to coach the Black Queens up until quite recently when she moved on to pastures anew. We'll get into conversations on the Club World Cup when we are done with the women's AFCON. So do stick and stay and keep your dials locked on Sporty 106.1 FM. We are the voice of sport. This is the Sporty Breakfast. Ahead of that Club World Cup conversation, the question for the morning, right? We'll open the phone line so you can call us when we are done with the WAFCON conversation. This one is for Real Madrid fans. Real Madrid fans, what do you think went wrong last night? What do you think went wrong last night? Are you concerned, or for you, it's still preseason, so you don't mind? You are not afraid? That's the question for the morning. Give me a call a little later. But as I said, Zambia, they won their first game of the competition. Remember they drew 2-2 with Morocco? Yes, that was last week, Saturday or so. Last night, they held off the threat of Senegal to win by 3-2. Barbara Banda and Rachel Kundanaji were the scorers for the Zambians. Now, that result puts them on 4 points behind Morocco, who have a superior goal difference of +2. Zambia's goal difference is +1. So obviously, they won't have to finish second in that particular group. We're trying to work the line to see if we can get some perspective from the Zambians. Let's see what they make of their own campaign and what they make of Nora Hutla. But in the meantime, you can send us a WhatsApp message 054-257-1061, 054-257-1061, 054-257-1061. Staying with women's football, a few notes from the women's Euros currently being played in Switzerland. Last night, you had England winning their game, or yesterday afternoon, they beat the Netherlands by 4-0. Lauren James scored twice. Georgia Stanway and Ella Toon, they got the goals for the English team. And there were some other results from the women's Euros as well. France beating Wales by 4-1. So France have 6 points now. France have got 6 points now, and they are set to make it to the next stage of the competition. So for those who did not know, there is a women's AFCON. There's a women's AFCON here, but there's a women's Euros also happening in Switzerland just at the same time as the women's AFCON is being played. This is still the Sporty Breakfast. Let's get back to the line. And let's speak with Adam Mangani from ZID TV in Zambia. He's joining us to speak a bit about Zambia and what they are doing at the WAFCON. Adam, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Sporty Breakfast on Sporty FM in Accra.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
We are fine. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on Zambia's 3-2 win from last night. Just your quick thoughts on the game. Senegal were a tough side, but the Zambians pulled through ultimately.
Yeah, Senegal was a tough team, but we knew our girls were definitely going to come through like they did, because Zambia's been growing in confidence. We didn't have a good start, but we're growing. After conceding an early goal from Senegal, the structure, confidence, and belief kicked in. The coach set up the 4-4-2. It allowed better shape in the midfield and transition. Barbara Banda, Kundananji's chemistry really gave us that victory. So we're still growing. We still look forward to play Congo.
You did mention the tactical switch. That's a coaching decision. What are the general thoughts of Nora Hutla, ex-Ghana coach, now current Zambia coach? What do people think of her? And what are your own thoughts on the work she's doing with this Zambian team?
I think she's doing a pretty good job, though we have different mixed opinions. Though people are saying we haven't seen much change from the previous coach and her. But, she's one player that, she's one coach that really understands the players that she has at her disposal. And she uses them to their full strength. And that's one thing which is really good about Coach Nora. So I can see what she's doing. It will take a football mind to really see what she's doing. It's not something that you can see and instantly recognize, but as time goes on, people will see what she's trying to get at.
Just finally, 4 points on the board. There's that third group game against Congo. We don't know how that will go, but how far do you think this Zambian team can go in this competition? They were third a few years ago. Are they capable of bettering that run? Are they capable of doing silver, maybe gold, ultimately at the end of the competition?
I think they will make it past the group stage, but getting to the semifinals and whatnot, I think we'll take it each day as it comes, because the team is still growing. Coach Nora is still working our philosophy, and we don't expect huge results like going to the finals. If we do go, it's a bonus. But all in all, she's doing a good job, and I don't think we can put so much pressure saying that we'll go to the finals or maybe we'll get the WAFCON, because you can see there's a process that's happening.
We'll see how it goes. Adam, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll speak soon, hopefully after Zambia makes it out of the group and into the last 8.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to speak to you soon, and we can talk more.
All right, thank you so much. That was Adam Mangani from ZID TV, and he's a Zambian sports journalist giving us some perspective from a Zambian angle. So earlier, I was talking about the Women's Euros happening in Switzerland. So all the games are live and they are free to air on Sporty TV. So if you hear me talking about the UEFA Women's Euros and you are wondering where to watch it, don't worry. You can watch it all on Sporty TV, live and free to air, so you can enjoy the likes of Lauren James and Georgia Stanway and all the lovely players, Putellas and co from Spain, and all the lovely players from France and all of that. You can get all the action on Sporty TV. All right, let's get to the line once again. Let's go back to Morocco and speak to our very own Madame Abigail Senasosu. She's joining us on the line. Abigail, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Good morning, well.
Wonderful. How is Morocco treating you?
It's okay.
That's a very loaded answer. But let's talk about the Black Queens. So far, how has it been? You've observed them for a bit since you arrived. What's the vibe like in camp? What's the conversation around players, especially as they hope to bounce back from their opening day loss to South Africa?
So what happened yesterday was that I was in Casablanca. Got to my final destination in the early hours of this morning, and so as I speak to you, you can pardon the noise and all. I am now getting to the thing. I am now going to see my people, and I just calm down. So I'm now heading to the camp where I'll meet them for the first time, and then go back to Zaire with them to have the training and exactly tomorrow. So I'm now going to get to the Black Queens and hope that we'll be able to sit after midday as to what exactly is going on with them.
All right. Finally, Abigail, before I let you go, you touch base with the camp soon. Just generally, from what you've observed briefly, how is the vibe like in Morocco with the women's AFCON happening? Is it how is the atmosphere like? How are the people taking in the competition that is returning to their country? 3 years ago they hosted, they are hosting again. So what's the vibe like in Morocco?
I think that the World Cup competition carries the people along when they use that fund to make women's football big in Morocco. And so yesterday, for instance, we get to the Dia Stadium, and then you see women, men alike, children, classes of kids, girls, when we get to the stadium to watch the game. Even though Morocco was playing in Rabat, the people still in Mohammedia took to the stadium to enjoy that family ethnic game. So they've gotten to understand that it has to be in totality, that they are all trying so hard to be able to put the game on the map and also getting the people along to enjoy the game. So the people of Morocco have embraced the tournament, embraced women's football at large, and I think that they look at the enthusiasm around patronizing and watching the game. It's very, very, very encouraging to see the
All right, Abigail, thank you. We'll leave you to it. We'll leave you as you try and touch base and get yourself settled. We'll speak again really soon, but all the best ahead of the rest of the competition. I'm sure by the time we speak again, you will have more juice and more gist for us. All right, that was our colleague Abigail Senasosu. She's in Morocco. Our eyes and ears and legs on the ground covering the 2024 CAF Women's AFCON.
Sporty FM.
(9:14). This is still the Sporty breakfast. So last night, so we had Honeysuckle last night. It was a vibe. My colleague Raymond Yamado was there. Ray, come and tell us how it went yesterday. You were telling Immortal gave you all kinds of things to drink. So come and tell us what it is you were drinking at Honeysuckle Airport. But to our listeners, I want you to give me a call. Real Madrid fans especially, right? Or anybody who wants to speak about the Club World Cup. Should Real Madrid be concerned about last night's 4-0 loss to Paris Saint-Germain, or is still pre-season? Give me a call, 054-257-1061, 054-257-1061, 054-257-1061. Should Real Madrid be concerned after last night's huge loss to Paris Saint-Germain in the semi-final of the Club World Cup? Does this result mean anything to Real Madrid? Let me know. You can give me a call, 054-257-1061. Ray, how was last night?
Well,
is that Immortal gave you all kinds of...
Oh, yeah, it was exciting. At the Honeysuckle inside the airport. Mm-hmm. It was exciting, good crowd, nice environment. Mm-hmm. And the game itself was good. Mm-hmm. I think that Paris Saint-Germain made light work of Real Madrid yesterday. Mm-hmm. Very early on in the game, they made sure their presence was felt on the pitch. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited Real Madrid are giving that lesson. I told you before the game that I was going to be a battle between the former kings of Europe and the current new kings of Europe. Mm-hmm. And the new kings of Europe have given us reason to believe that indeed they deserve to be up there. Okay. And I'm excited about that.
All right, let me take this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
So this is Cho from KG. Good morning once again.
Yes, good morning.
Okay, so see, I don't okay. If you enter into a fight and you are beaten. This excuse of Xabi Alonso just took over 30-something days and Madrid is in a transition. The only new faces they've introduced to the team is Hausen and then who? The Gonzalo guy up front. And the Gonzalo guy up front.
And Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yes, and Trent. Okay, so apart from these three, there is no new face in the Madrid team. They've been together for a very long time. You see, it's just that Enrique's team is just better. And funny now, this Enrique team, about seeing the turn of the year, which is January, that's when they started picking up.
Yeah.
Earlier on in the season, they were this bad. So it's not like what PSG is doing we've not seen before. We saw Barcelona under Pep. We saw Man City in 2023 or 2024 under Pep. It is something that it happens to teams on occasions, but as for Madrid, we just hope going into the new season, which starts on the 15th of August, they would have done one or two things that can stabilize this team. Because you see, yesterday you could see what Enrique was preaching on Mbappe doing in his team, pressing. The very thing that Ousmane Dembele earlier on wasn't doing, and when he was prompted to it, he changed his attitude and he changed his behavior, and he started pressing, and he allowed the team to play. You see, Vinicius will not press. Yesterday's game, Vinicius doesn't press. Mbappe doesn't press. So in terms of the shape of the team, in terms of when they are defending, it is not good because the frontliners are not pressing for the team to push up to them. You can see that when they decide to press, they don't press also as a team. The attackers will go and press, and then you see the midfielders will be there looking at them. Yesterday, it was funny. For a team to concede 3 goals within 25 minutes is very serious. It means that there's a lot of things that Xavi Alonso needs to do. Okay. But this team is not new. Okay. They were just beaten by a better team.
I see. All right, thank you so much. 054-257-1061. 054-257-1061. Give me a call. If you're a Real Madrid fan or you are an observer, should Real Madrid be concerned by yesterday's 4-0 loss to Paris Saint-Germain? Let me know. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
I'm Nono from Bota region, Sogakofe.
All right, please go ahead.
In fact, what I saw yesterday, I'm speechless. When Madrid, the we Chelsea fans, we are waiting for Paris Saint-Germain. They can't do anything to us like how they did to Real Madrid.
Okay.
Monday, we are waiting. Sunday, we are waiting for them.
Okay, all right. We'll see how it goes. Thank you so much. This WhatsApp message, Michael from Bubash, he says, I'm honestly disappointed in how we played against PSG. That was a woeful performance. Okay, it's a very long message. I'll take time to read it. Hello?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Michael from Oblekman.
All right, Michael, please go ahead.
The win this one is because I am. The win this one. And not because I was like, what we are on the board.
The win is when they do call Diamo. But sometimes you know that sometimes some dreams and so that one maybe God is talking to you or something.
So right now you need to be from the channel. I'm gonna look at you.
Anyway, so you're saying that what this is what we'll see from Real Madrid.
Oh yeah. What's that? The PSG did not a thriller or a thriller. The Barca for the moment next season.
Sporty FM.
Hey.
Oh yeah, this one. You see, do you know one thing?
What's that?
Real Madrid, they didn't deal with the pressing of PSG. They weren't able to deal with the pressing.
Okay.
That is the same thing they did to Inter Milan. So you need a player who can beat the press, or a defender who can strike that long balls to beat that press. Because Dembele is the first who could make that first press. So they press you 1v1.
That is true.
1v1. So Zergo is pressing you, Vasquez is pressing you, then Dembele. So you check the first 2 goals. It all resulted in pressing. Dembele pressed. He got the ball from Asensio. Then that's clashing from Courtois. Then Fabian Ruiz. The second goal to the press from Dembele to Rudiger in the second goal. So you need a player or a defender who can strike that long balls and beat that press. Or you need a midfielder who will come, take the ball, turn, and move through the press. And Madrid don't have one. They wanted to use Adagula for that work, but then Adagula, he is not that good in receiving the ball and driving through the press. He's only good in and around that zone 14. Behind that penalty,
you are taking us to the coaching class today. Zone 14. Hey!
So that same thing happened to Inter Milan. The same thing. They have that mechanical midfield, Barella, Chanoglu. There's no one in the shape of Frankie de Jong or Pedri who will drop, take the ball, turn, and beat the press.
Yeah.
That's their problem. So if you need one player who will do that, you need a player like Pedri or Frankie de Jong who will come, give me the ball, he will turn and go. But when you check through that Madrid squad, they don't have that player.
True.
So they had that player in Toni Kroos.
But they haven't replaced Toni Kroos.
very good. So last season they had a player in Ceballos who was doing that, but Ceballos didn't master it, and because of injury, he is out. So that is the problem of Real Madrid. So they need to fix that. But then if they don't fix that, like 6-7, because and yesterday Raymond said something. He said Luis Enrique will watch Barcelona games against Madrid, and he mastered that plan. It was the same thing that he did yesterday. It was the same thing. So we beat them 1, 2, 3, then they get confused.
Okay, all right.
Before they return back, then we move damage on. So it's the same thing. So not even here.
All right, Michael. Thank you so much. Very interesting. 054-257-1061. Give me a call. I just want to know, Real Madrid fans, last night 4-0. Like, are you concerned by it, or for you, it's preseason? Don't worry, things will rectify themselves. Let me take this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning, Nathan.
Yes. What's your name and why are you calling from,
This is Kojo Eden.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yesterday's game with Madrid, there was nothing that Madrid was going to do that was going to save them. The game yesterday was clearly between a side who has mastered the craft and then a side with a new coach trying to get new ideas on board. The PSG team is complete. And I'm even scared. I'm even scared for Chelsea. I'm a Chelsea fan anyway. I think Chelsea should just call them and then give the title to them. Because what is going to happen on Sunday, come on. That is all I can say.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. 054-257-1061. Talk about the pressing game. I just took time to observe. I was going in and out when the first half was doing. So the second half, I sat down to watch the press, and it is true. Dembele, Barcola, and the others, they really press brilliantly. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Galactico from Dansuma.
Okay, please go ahead. I see.
But me, after Chelsea, Charlie, we will score them.
Are you sure?
Oh, very sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Because the life of Enzo, Charlie, we will score them.
Okay. All right. Ray.
Where are Chelsea fans getting this confidence from?
But they should believe in their team. They have every right to believe in
this
their
Chelsea team. Nathan,
yes.
I've told you, if Chelsea want to win this game, either they go and look for Jan Sommer, or Neuer, or Donnarumma, or Alisson Becker. They have to look for a proper goalkeeper. Or they have to what's his name?
Raya.
Yes, or Raya.
But once the Sanchez
need a goalkeeper
to stop PSG, because they'll keep shooting.
They'll get chances. They'll shoot. They'll hit shots on target. If your keeper is like Sanchez. So Chelsea, you have this keeper, you want to beat PSG.
Okay, let me take this caller. Hello.
Hello, Nathan.
Yes, good morning. This is
Husband.
Okay, please go ahead.
Tell Mr. Reed that Botafogo was not having Manuel Neuer or Jan Sommer at the PSG. We are talking as if PSG team is unbeatable. They are unbeatable. On the day, anything is possible.
Okay, all right.
So, I am a Chelsea fan, and I have this belief PSG is not going to have it easy on the day. It's not as if we are going to stand and watch them score as if the way they scored Madrid. No, it's not going to happen. We are going to match them boot for boot.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to sit with Mr. Ray and watch the game. We are not going to have Manuel Neuer or Jan Sommer or Donnarumma in our post. But we are going to give PSG a run for their money. Mark my words.
Okay. I mean, that's what I would expect. It's a final. I would expect Chelsea to match PSG. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people are saying we chose the easy path and this is the match. We are ready for it. That is why we are competing in this. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Ray.
Do Chelsea fans know the squad that played against Botafogo? There was Mayulu, Zaire Emery. There was Ramos striking. there was Berardo, there was Hernandez. Those were the players who started that game. Did they see the usual suspects in that team? The Dembeles, the Neves and co, the Ruiz and co. Did they see them in that game?
So you are saying that when
should be able.
You are saying that should PSG present their A squad, it could be a problem. Okay, let me take this caller. We have to talk to our friends from the rugby association. So let's take 2 more calls and then we close it out. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, Abu Mohammed from Japan.
All right, please go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I'm a Messi fan. I'm a Barcelona fan as well. The way PSG did to Inter Miami with Messi, in fact, I was expecting Madrid to discipline them. So I was disappointed.
Okay.
That Madrid, yes. So even though I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I would love Chelsea also to retaliate what they did to Messi. So and then I'm happy with the way the Chelsea fans are that confident.
Okay.
Yes. Because for the Billy and Inter to do what they did to Messi and they have to relax like they are playing with some schoolboys and all that. So I want Chelsea to win. And I'm happy they are very, very confident. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll take one more call and then we move on to some other things. Hello.
Oh, Nathan.
Yes.
Oh, it's my day.
Why? What's wrong?
Okay. Chris, like how do you call it, Monday? It's a cool. You ain't busy.
Oh, is that busy? You see,
they come the chair. Why? They be analyst. What's up? You can't come make your point and go.
Emmanuel, why are you doing this today? Okay, you make your point. You are on the line now. You make your point.
Listen, there have to be a timeline. There are many people who want to talk. You come and talk. Analysis. Go to Sky Sports. Go to work. Go and just work at Sky Sports. Oh, what is it?
Okay, you make your point. You are on now.
Madrid, you are the controller. Controller like Thomas Partey. We get problem. Oh, I'm sorry for that. I see. I lost when it's not to travel in Real Madrid. She's not playing that is 3 back.
Okay.
This is 3 back. No, you working like the way someone is doing in Manchester. That I'm eyeing you to my one eye. Like I'm eyeing like equally. Like I know they watch out.
Okay.
That is it. It's like the phone or you go check out.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So Madrid the 4-point controller.
Okay. No. They really need to. They really need to.
Yeah. Wait, Thomas Partey will be the issue, but issue I don't know. I don't know where club we want Thomas Partey with this problem right now.
Well, we'll have to see. He'll get his day in court. Let's see what happens to him.
Oh, Charlie.
All right. Emmanuel, thank you so much. I think that's it for the call-in. It's 9:30 on the dot. This is still the Sporty Breakfast. Remember that Sporty FM's coverage of the Club World Cup is proudly brought to you by Electroland Ghana. Remember that the games are live on Sporty FM, Sporty TV, and on the Sporty Bet app. Let's take a word from Electroland Ghana.
Samsung Kick-Off promo is here. The more the city appreciates, the more we reduce the prices. Double price drop on Samsung LED FHD Smart TVs, UHD Smart 4K TVs, QLED Flat 4K, QLED 8K Neo TVs, and OLED TVs. Deal breaker alert. Buy Samsung OLED 65, 77, or 83 inches and get a free projector, plus a whooping discount. Samsung Duracool top and bottom mounted fridge at amazing deals that you don't want to miss. Buy a Samsung 1.5, 2.0 or 2.5 R40 inverter AC and get a free Wi-Fi breaker. Buy bespoke 4-door refrigerator and get a free glass panel. Buy 7 kg, 8 kg and 13 kg Samsung front and top load washing machines for exciting discounts that will make you smile. Rush to Electroland showrooms and authorized dealers across Ghana. Call 050-315-9739. Samsung Kickoff promo. It's a goal for savings.
And this is still Sporty Breakfast live on Sporty 106.1 FM in Accra, 102.5 in Takoradi, and 91.3 in Kumasi. And away from the States, we come back home to Ghana. And in studio with me, I'm joined by the board members of Rugby League Federation Ghana. Well, some of the board members. And last week we were discussing the game between the Squallers and the Bulls, and that was a big match. And I'll tell you about how that game went because I had both teams in studio. The Squallers were here, the Bulls were here as well. And I'll tell you how that game ended. Jafaru Mustafa is here with me. And Jafaru Mustafa is the general manager of the Rugby League Federation. And we are very privileged this morning to be joined by the president of the Rugby League Federation. And she's been re-elected to steer the affairs of the Federation from now to 2027. And it is my singular pleasure to introduce and welcome Juliana Story to the studios of Sporty FM this morning. Juliana Story, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty FM.
Good morning and thank you for having us.
And I think that it will be very important and right for me to congratulate you on your re-election as president of the Rugby League Federation Ghana.
Thank you.
Right. And I'm also joined in studio by Mustafa Jafaru, who's the general manager of the Ghana Rugby League Federation. Mustafa, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty FM.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning.
Well, today I'm going to have a conversation with Madam Juliana Story, but we're going to have a conversation around what happened last weekend. Last Sunday between the Squallers and the Bulls. The Squallers were, or the Bulls, the Bulls were attacking tough. They said they were going to deal with the Squallers. The Squallers currently top of the table.
Yes.
Take us to that game, just quickly before I have my conversation with Madam Juliana Story.
So anyone who watched the game or have seen the flyer of the game could see the shirt of Emmanuel Achampon to case. You could see that the shirt was some way torn. That shows you how the game was very, very, very tough. And at the point, both teams were around 14-14 on the scoreboard, but it took some prowess from Emmanuel Achampon and some of the players to pull this off. The game went from something quiet to very aggressive because a lot of them have been here to brag about the game. You could see Tukes and the rest were all having these discussions around what if I lose? I've made a lot of noise. It was intense. And one unique thing about the game also was it was officiated by our female referee, Jackie. So Jackie was in the center of the game and she officiated very, very, very well. To look at the game, that is our El Clasico, and we're having our first female referee to officiate that. That should show you the level of commitment around inclusivity. We believe everybody can do the sports, and the women are showing and are standing out.
Right. Mustafa, we'll get back to that conversation in a bit, and hopefully next week you can bring me the two teams and let me deal with them because the Bulls were talking tough. I didn't know they were going to get walloped like that. But
22-14 is not a big margin. It's like two tries, so like let's say 4-2 or 2-0 difference 2.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'll still bring them.
You have to teach me the scoring because 22-14 looks like a big gap for me.
If you score 1 point, it's 4 points, and then if you convert, it's 2 points.
Right.
Yeah. So if they could have scored 2 more tries, it would have still been a draw. Yeah, but I think Scholars did well. And they tagged you guys also. So
Yes. Congratulations to the Scholars. Better luck next time. The Bulls will be following the season. So the Rugby Football League season will be following you. So we'll see how things pan out there. But let me begin my conversation with Mrs. Juliana Story. And once again, congratulations to you, madam.
Thank you.
Right. Now, let's get into a bit of your journey to Rugby League Federation. What inspired you to take this role?
Okay, it was a coincidental role. My son played rugby, from school, and eventually he got selected to join the Ghana team.
Okay.
So when he came over to join them, I helped and I supported and I sponsored a few of the lads, and they'd come home and I'd make barbecues for them and all that sort of thing. And eventually I started sort of following the team as they went around and giving interviews, and just slowly just got more involved with rugby league here in Ghana. And I saw the work they were doing, and in meeting people, talking to people, the drive was there, and it just all needed to be pulled together. So they invited me onto the board. There was a Zoom meeting. As it is with Zoom meetings, you tend not to concentrate, you know?
Right.
So I was floating in and out. And then I just heard, so it's all been agreed, we voted, Mrs. Story is the president. And I was like, whoa, when did that happen? But that's how it came. My son has always played rugby since he was a young boy, and he was able to play for Ghana, and it just grew out of that. So I'm a rugby mum, so I have a full understanding of the game. I understand the commitment it takes. I understand the energy and the effort, and my background in economics and business as a teacher, and also setting up my own businesses, sort of helped with the skill set that I needed really in this role. But I've been greatly supported by Jaffa & Co. in this role. So to grow the game in Ghana, that was the main inspiration.
Right. So you are expected to steer the affairs of the Rugby League Federation for the next 3 years.
Yes.
What do you bring to the federation?
Okay, what do I bring? It's funny, we all bring skill set, but I think I bring a certain element of discipline. I'm very focused on good governance. I'm very focused on developing good habits, and that is from time management. When we make a commitment to something, that we get it done on time and we get it done properly. I'm very focused on growing the game because I know the potential it has, and I know the benefits it brings to those that participate in the game. With my educational background, I have a clear understanding of the additions it brings to children when they get into sports. Healthy mind, healthy body. So for me, what I bring to it, my understanding of the game, my understanding of the advantages for youth and females getting involved in the game, my understanding of how international bodies work, their rules and regulations, their expectations. And I think my style of management, which is sometimes you lead from the front, but you can also lead beside people, and you can also lead from behind, just motivating and supporting people. So for me, my ability to work with a broad spectrum of people and to motivate, I think that's what I bring to it, and the continuation of the work that we started in the previous 2 years, and bringing it to fruition in the next 2 years.
Right. You made mention of women in the game, and speaking to Jafaru and monitoring a few of the things they do, you don't have too many women in the sport. How do you intend to get a lot more on board so rugby becomes a thing, a sport that women love as well?
Absolutely. So we do have a number involved, obviously not as many as we would like. However, we will use them as brand ambassadors. The other way of getting more young females involved is actually by going through to the schools. So we're working with schools like Accra Girls and other schools where we're starting with them at a very young age for both the boys and the girls, but showing the girls that they can play, they have the skills, they have the agility and the ability, and most importantly, the mental fortitude to play. So the way to grow it is, in a way, we've got to reverse engineer it. Initially, we had quite a number of university ladies playing, but of course, we graduate university, we move on. So we're going to start feeding and growing the game for the girls in particular via the schools, both the state schools, if you like, the public schools, and some of the private schools as well.
Right. There's a lot of talk about trying to embed the rugby league into our national culture in terms of education, getting a lot more schools involved, communities and all. How do you intend to put all of this together, and how do you intend to collaborate with the sports ministry to make sure rugby is well embraced across all fronts?
Lovely. So we've had meetings with the NSA. We met with the GES. We've now actually got letters of accreditation to work with the schools.
Okay.
What we're going to try and do, which we've started doing, is looking at our various teams and allocating schools in their areas so they sort of start mentoring them. We're going to schools with our coaches and our trainers and do the rugby workshops with them. So it's a many-fronted approach in terms of publicizing the game, working with the municipalities, working with the Ghana Education Service, or working with the schools themselves, and going in, holding tournaments for the younger bracket within our age groups, and exposing them to the game, letting teachers have first-hand experience of actually watching the game with all the safety protocols in place. To put everyone's mind at ease.
Right. Anytime we talk about sports and we talk about sports like rugby, one problem seems to come up, and it's the issue of funding, the financing. Now, there are a few sponsors on board. We know there's the Salford Red Devils, there's the Future Stars and all. How do you intend to, attract more sponsorship for the group locally and internationally? And also, how do you intend to work with the existing partners to make sure rugby league stays strong?
Absolutely. So at the moment, we're quite fortunate. We have people like Polytank, GB Water, etc., that are already on board. We hold networking meetings. We hold breakfast meetings where we invite our existing sponsors from the commercial space and potential sponsors, where we update them on all the things that we're doing. We have our partners abroad fly in to talk to them so that they understand fully the vision for the game. The game has an incredible amount of potential, and I think most business-minded people can see that. So the idea is, yes, to get the private sponsorship. The bigger the game, the more exposure those private corporates have with us. So as the game grows, we truly believe we'll get more partners on board. We keep them fully informed. We keep them on point, as it were, with what we're doing. In terms of the international funding, as a league, when we meet certain protocols, we will be invited to and qualified to join the International Rugby League.
Okay.
That comes with funding in its own right. So it's one of those things, we need to get to a certain stage before we can get the proper funding. But I think with our vision and all the systems we've put in place, we're certainly on the right path, both to engage corporate and the international funding that we could attract.
I chanced on a picture, and you were in that picture with the Deputy British High Commissioner.
Yes.
Any plans to partner the British High Commission to get a few more events and get a few things in place for the rugby league?
Absolutely. Very fortunate. He happens to be a huge rugby league fan himself.
Okay.
And in actual fact, he's come to several of our games, and he's able to I say tweet, it's now X, but he's able to get us exposure both here and in the north of England, where rugby league is really huge. And that brings interest in what we're doing and possible sponsorship. Working with the Salford Red Devils as well, that exposure over there. The diaspora sees what we're doing, and I'm not saying regularly, but often enough, we get people who say, yes, we're going to send you some rugby balls. Yes, we're going to send some money to sponsor the ambulance for this game, and so on and so forth. So it's the old pebble and the ripple effect.
Right.
With people like Keith on board, once we get that exposure, and that, if you like, backing, it brings others on board.
Right. This is still Sporty FM, and this is still the Sporty Breakfast. You're live on Sporty 106.1 in Accra, 102.5 in Takoradi, and 91.3 in Kumasi. We are having a conversation with our friends from the Rugby League Federation, and they have a new president. They have a new president, and she's in studio with me. Mrs. Juliana Story is here with me. She's the president of the Rugby League Federation, and they have a new board. So let me take you through the new board members. There's Daniel Okojani, he's the vice president. There's Rob Oram, who's the treasurer, and they have George Morgan, who's a board member. David Asokwa is a board member as well. Ikea Ofori is a board member, and Hubert Leomensa is also a board member. So these are the new executives of the Rugby League Federation, and I'm privileged to have in studio with me the president, Mrs. Juliana Story, and I also have the general manager of the Rugby League, Jafaru Mustafa, also in studio with me. But let me pick the thoughts of Jafaru before I come back to Mrs. Juliana Story. Jafaru, there's a lot happening with Rugby League, and I'm sure you must be excited about the new board and what they bring to the table.
Yes, a lot of thought process has gone into this. We are looking for a particular skill set and dynamics in there. So if you watch this time, we have people with legal backgrounds in there. We have people running affairs in education. We have people running affairs with the national body, that's the NSA. We have people in the marketing space. And then we have people who are into sponsorship and investments in sports. We also looked at the regions. In Greater Accra at the moment, the board has 5 people in Greater Accra and 2 in the Ashanti region. This, as part of our 5-year plan, we intend to be in active. We intend to actively be in 3 regions where we'll be running the sports in areas of men, women, and youth. So come 2027, the board is going to have people from all these regions, so they are able to steer the affairs of the various regions. We believe in the people we've selected to lead the Rugby League Federation Ghana, and we just want people to wait for 2027.
Right. Thank you very much, Jafaru. Mrs. Story, before we wrap up the conversation, just my last question to you. On a personal level, what does the Rugby League mean to you, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave for the Rugby League before your tenure ends in 2027?
Okay, so what does Rugby League mean to me? Rugby League means an awful lot to me. The first thing is this. I think I say this in most of my interviews. I genuinely believe that rugby league, and the characteristics it takes to play the game well is embedded in the Ghanaian spirit.
Yeah.
We're fearless, we're fast, we can think on our feet, and we're not afraid of a challenge. For that reason, I think rugby league has a future here. The legacy that we would like to leave is having built the sound foundations, having created the pathways through education, through to university, through to possible international careers, where our people using rugby league can go forth and fly. If we can build that solid foundation, put the systems in place, the process in place, and have it functioning long after this board has left and moved on, then I think we would have done a good job. I think rugby league has an awful lot to offer, both those who participate in it, those who organize it, and those who watch it. So for us, the legacy would be to embed rugby league into the Ghanaian culture and see the Ghanaian national team up there playing with the best of them and winning.
Right. And there's the rugby league currently ongoing. There's the Scholars, there's the Bulls. Do you have any favorite team in there?
Oh, no. Clearly, not something I could disclose.
Okay.
Not in public.
Okay, so you're going to tell me when we go off?
Possibly.
Right. And let me say a big thank you to you for joining us in studio today. And we wish you all the best as you try to make the sports popular, make the sports grow in Ghana, and become one of the sports we make reference to, just like football, just like athletics, just like boxing. So we wish you all the best in your new role, and we hope that just as you wish for yourself and just as you wish for rugby league, everything you want to see happen would happen. All the best to you.
Thank you so much.
Right. Jafaru, let me say a big thank you to you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you.
And we wish you well. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
In terms of, I wake up in the morning and the first thing I see is rugby league. He's doing a great job.
Thank you.
I wish you well as well. And we hope to see rugby grow in Ghana and become a household name.
Thank you very much.
Right. So our friends from the Rugby League Federation joining us in studio. Yeah, why am I saying football? You know, there's a lot of football we talk about. So, but this is the voice of sport. All sports all day, all sports 24 hours on Sporty 106.1 FM. We are indeed the voice of sport. And let me say a big thank you to the entire production team. This is where we draw the curtain down on today's edition of Sporty Breakfast. Nane Ikuya Mankwa, Janet Asbella, Nane Ikuya Mankwa, Immortal Ijakwe Champo, Emmanuel Ayamga, Yusuf Decider, Yusuf Decider, Issa. That's right. Yeah, I got the name right. AKA Flyboy. AKA Flyboy. A big thank you to the entire production team. Fidelis has been on the turntables. Nathan Kwao started the show with me, and I'm taking the show home. To our content head, to our team lead, Gary Al Smith, a big thank you to you for making this show successful. Programming on Sporty FM continues. There's news at 12, the Sporty Plug at 12:30 with Nana Kwame and the team. The Sporty Drive at 4 p.m. with Fifi Banton. And at 7, European Nights with Kofi Fiaka and the rest of the team. And at 10, there's Ball Up Top with Winston Michaels and Rondo. There's a lot for you on our exclusive 24-hour sports station, Sporty FM 106.1. Keep listening to Sporty FM. We are the voice of sport. Up next is Nathan Kwao with Inside French Football.